Yeah, what is going on, everybody, and welcome back to Shooting the Shit Uncensored. I am your host, the dad bod god, the bald, the beard, the fucking beautiful Piers Austin, and tonight we have a very special guest. I have Mr. Tyson Gibbs, the Australian wrestling veteran, legend, the man, the myth, the legend, and I'm excited to have him on. I've been wanting to have on Tyson for the longest fucking time, guys, and I'm really excited to have him on. But before we get into that, let's take a quick pause for that fucking cause and thank some of those amazing sponsors that help us keep the lights on up in this bitch every single night. First off is Sleefs.com. That's SLEEFS, Sleefs.com. Now, guys, this is your one-stop shop for all your athletic wear. They've got armbands, compression pants, compression shorts, headbands, boots, jerseys, mouth guards, you name it, they've fucking got it. And you've got to check out their dirty boxes, guys. These boxes are the most comfortable boxes that I own. They've sent me boxes of these boxes. I'm going to say boxes a few more times. Boxes. But, guys, I got rid of my old boxes. These boxes stay dried. They stay fresh. They're comfortable as fuck. And when the belt buckle comes undone at the end of the day, Mrs. Austin is laughing on what's at the front of the boxes, not what's inside them for once, which is nice. But, guys, go and check out Sleeps.com. Use that promo code MWAPOD to get a 10% discount on your final purchase. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, is healthvape.com. Healthvape.com is your healthy vaping alternative. Get all those filthy fucking cigarette smokers, those filthy fucking vapors over to Healthvape. All of their products, no nicotine, no addictive or harmful chemicals. They help restore your energy while giving you the vital boost you need to get through your day. And there are no nicotine. That's right, guys. So go and check out Health Vape. Use that promo code MWAPOD to get a 10% discount on your final purchase. You're going to do yourself a favor by flicking those fucking cigarettes, guys. But, guys, while you're joining us, thank you for joining us on the MWA Podcast Network. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell to stay notified, comment, all that good shit. If you're listening to us on a podcast platform, please give us a 5-star review. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. We got some of the best shows happening in the wrestling world, like Killing the Business, hosted by former ECW original, The Kingpin, Angel Medina with King Mega. We got Knights of the Gimmick Table, hosted by the Dead Presidents, Boogaloo and Lowrider, and Cade Lothbrock. We got the NXT Roundup, and we got Shooting the Shit Unfucking Censored. So what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button and let's go. But, guys, without further ado, let's get into my conversation with Mr. Tyson Gibbs. We're live, pal. Thanks for being on, Tyson. Good to see you, bro.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thank you for giving up your Thursday evening to come and literally shoot the shit with me this evening. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, let's shoot some shit. I got some shit to shoot.
That's it, man. But, dude, you and Jay Sorbet, last EWA show, I was there, got to commentate it. Your first time working with Jay, man. How did you feel about that match, and how did you feel coming out of it?
Yeah, it felt good, man. I feel like, I've been coming back since April, and before that it was like, 3-4 years ago, on and off. I don't know. Maybe there was one match in there, but I feel like the rhythm's coming back. I feel like we're getting back towards like optimum sort of running speed and stuff. Sorbet was like, he came in like quite literally at the last minute. The whole thing happened with Ryan Eagles and the COVID and whatnot. hope he's well. But it's pretty disappointing that match didn't happen. That being said, I don't know. I think it worked out all right. It's funny, actually. I met him, Jay Sorbet. I met him a long time ago because he's related to a friend of mine. And I met him when he was like 10 years old. And then I'm like, see the face. I'm like, hang on a second. And this makes sense. But yeah.
I actually told you that before the show and you were like,
That's right. And it does make me feel a little bit old, but in the end, I was pretty happy with it, man. And I think overall, EWA is putting on some good stuff, drawing some decent crowds, and I don't know, they're building something quite nice there, like the production and everything, and all the talent. Sort of, it's going somewhere. It's good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for a second show drawing close to 600, first show 550. That's what I mean, for independent professional wrestling. That's massive numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've got like some big plans to keep building. And I think the strategy that, not to sort of talk much into the details of it, but they're how do you say? Like they're just conscious of what needs to be done. They've got some goals that they're ticking off the list as they go. And as far as like professional wrestling in Australia goes, it's definitely one of my favorite places to work, hands down, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, I think, and I've mentioned this before on this podcast, where we've seen, about a year or so ago, when the whole world is in shutdown, there's no sporting events, there's no live professional wrestling shows really happening. Australia was one of the first countries to really be back at full capacity for pro wrestling shows and sporting events. And I strongly, strongly believe, from the promotions that are streaming on platforms and have an online presence, we got a lot of international eyes on the Australian product during that time, I believe. You feel the same way?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like right now, I mean, I've been around Australian wrestling for the best part of like 20 years or so. And I think that right now is probably the strongest it's been in terms of international recognition. And like, I don't know if you subscribe or have the Fight TV thing, but like just about everyone's on there now. PWA is doing some big things. I think FWA might be running a show or something on there. But like, it's an awesome time to be in professional wrestling. You've got a lot of tools at your disposal in terms of promoting yourself, promoting your promotion, getting, footage of your shows out there. People are live streaming. Like, it's a really, really good time to be in the business because you've got so many ways to be successful. Like people have got so many different ways to make money and stuff. I think it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And, like pro wrestling, I feel like 20 years ago in Australian wrestling, I was around a lot of shows, 20 years ago, and you compare, and well, not compare, but you see how the level of professional wrestling, and even as far as crowds go, and as far as knowledgeable fans go, like 20 years ago, I feel like a lot more fans in the audience were not sort of hardcore wrestling fans. They were sort of, okay, there's a wrestling show on, we'll go. Where now I think we're seeing a lot more, wrestling fans within Australia, obviously because of online and social media and stuff like that. It's a way for people to gather, which is great because I feel with pro wrestling, you either you get it or you don't. You love it or you don't. Like there's no in the middle between for wrestling fans or a non-wrestling fan.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with that to an extent. I think when pro wrestling is done well, I think it can appeal to some people who maybe think that pro wrestling isn't their thing. I think there's some like universal sort of principles, and like we're talking about like, just it's like any other show. Like you've got to have like your appealing personalities. Like even professional sport has picked this up, that if you've got like good personalities that bounce off each other, like you look at the way fights are promoted now, you look at the way like the personalities of athletes like in basketball and stuff like that is so much more important than it used to be. Like I think there's a universal sort of laws to it, I mean, you've got your hardcore fans and they're going to appreciate things very differently. They're going to have like appreciation for probably the more technical aspects because let's face it, the business has been completely exposed. So yeah, I really like, in my experience, to appeal to and connect with people who, man, people that have never seen wrestling that like go, holy shit, what is this? I think that's a really cool demographic that isn't it. It's not to be ignored, you know. I think that there's something to appealing to those people.
I definitely agree, and I think that those are people that are least open to enjoying a pro wrestling show. Like I've taken a buddy of mine to a show, and he wasn't a wrestling fan. He wasn't a hater. Like he wasn't like, oh, bro, what the fuck are you dragging me to? But he was like, oh yeah, like. And I took him to a show, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm expecting like middle-aged dudes rolling around, and he was on the edge of the seat the whole time to the point where I'm sitting next to him, going, bro, you need to settle the fuck down, all right? I can't be marking the audience, bro. Like chill the fuck out. But like from start to finish of the show, even at intermission, he's like, bro, this is like the most insane fucking shit I've ever fucking seen. And leaving, and then he's telling all of our other groups of friends, bro, you have to go and see a show with Piers. This shit is like fucking mine. You know what I mean? Like, even my kid, like he came to his first show the other week at the EWA show, and he's looking at it, and I was like skeptical because I was like, man, is he going to get scared of the noise or whatever? Bro, for the week afterwards, man, that's all he's talked about is like, when can I go back and see another wrestling show? When can I go and hang out with wrestlers, bro? He's like obsessed now, you know?
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I've got a similar thing coming up next weekend. I'm going to be going back to Dubbo where I sort of grew up and everything, and I've got some little, you know, I guess they're like 5 years old, sort of nephews coming to check out the show, and they've seen stuff on video, and they're like pretty hyped to come. But like, it'd be interesting to see what the reception is for the live show. It's just different live, hey. Like you can 100%. Watch it on TV, you're kind of removed from it and stuff. And I don't know. I think especially when some of the stuff that's been put on TV in terms of, I don't know. What do you watch,
dude? You know what? I watch a lot of wrestling, obviously, because that's kind of part of my job. You know, but dude, like sometimes for me to just disconnect from wrestling, I've got to watch something completely, you know, different. You know what I mean? Like something that's more like drama based, or like, you know, I'm not saying wrestling hasn't got drama, but something completely opposite to wrestling. But for me, when I see like a live sporting event or pro wrestling, I always compare it to, and I always pay attention to how the crowd is reacting. What is the crowd feeling? Because sometimes you can be watching wrestling or you can be watching a live sporting event, and it could be amazing athletes doing amazing things, and the crowd's just not responding to it. And I feel like when you're there, it's a different atmosphere. Like I've been at shows and then watched shows back and then gone, oh, okay. Like I thought the crowd was really into it, but they were sort of more reserved. Have you sort of seen that as well from things that you've watched or been a part of and then watched back?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's an absolute travesty. Like with the way WWE pipes in their fake crowd noises now on their shows. Like I don't know if you've noticed this, but wow, that's pretty bad. I mean, they do a very good job of it, I suppose, but you still like if the whole crowd's standing there stone faced and there's a big pop or something like that, and you're sort of like, oh, okay. I think AEW is doing pretty good with a devoted fan base and like a hot crowd, right?
You know what? AEW fans, bro, are some of the most interesting people, bro. And I say this with all due respect, because what they're doing, they're appeasing to the crowd and they're appeasing to their audience, which is great. Because
they really are, hey.
Yeah. But anytime I've tried to watch AEW, I've seen stuff that I've just gone, no.
Yep.
And I turn it straight off. Like that exploding shit with John Moxley.
All the farts, yeah.
Yeah. Dude, that embarrassed fucking Moxley, Kingston. And I spoke with people that were actually backstage at that show, like Homicide. And he told me, he goes, bro, fucking Kingston came back and was like throwing fucking chairs and shit. But the thing was, they didn't learn from that, because a month later or 3 months later, they had Jericho get pushed off a fucking cage and he lands on the stage, right? Impressive bump, right? Should be like, holy shit fucking moment. And then you look down and it's cardboard metal fucking great. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's cardboard with great pictures on it. And I'm like, you just embarrassed this whole fucking spot.
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely been some questionable things, huh? Like even on the Jericho note, like didn't he have a match with Nick Gage not so long ago? Like, was it last year or something like that? And they're cutting each other with pizza cutters and shit like that.
Yeah, Nick Gage pizza cutter, and it had a Domino's commercial.
They did. There was a big sort of that was the talking point for the week, wasn't it? Yeah, I don't know how that sort of thing like works for like sponsors and investors and stuff like that. And then like, I don't know, like you say, there's just stuff that makes me sort of, it turns me off from them. Like if anything, I would, there's two options really, right? In American wrestling, got AEW, WWE. AEW would probably be my pick. There's just a few guys there that I really like MJF. I've still got some time for CM Punk, although like I think he's lost a bit of shine since he started. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
And FTR. I reckon FTR are like the fucking best on the planet right now.
Yeah, look, you know what? I think FTR are great workers. I just thought their cosplay match that I went and watched of the Hart Foundation match, and I just went, if I wanted to watch Owen versus Brett in 1994, I'd just go back and watch Owen versus Brett. Like
there was a lot of homage going on in people's matches, wasn't there?
Bro, that match was literally move for move from that, and then CM Punk versus Hangman Page, again, bro. Move for Piper versus Bret Hart, and it was like I saw like someone did like the comparisons of the full matches, like one above of the other, and I just sat there and I watched it. And it's the
I
only
thought it was
way
just
I
a couple of
watched
spots because I didn't get to see that stuff. I only drop in from time to time to see that. So yeah, I didn't know it was that thorough in their sort of tribute act.
Yeah, man. But like I said before, AEW fans are interesting because they literally think everything's a shoot. You know, like the whole MJF promo is a shoot. I challenged one of them on another podcast where I'm like, bro, you really think that a business is going to go, hey, we're having tension with this employee, this talent. Hey, here's a live mic. Go say whatever the fuck you want. Don't worry about it, bro. Go and insult the owner of the business. Say whatever you want. Call him a bitch. Go for it. That's never going to happen, bro.
Yeah, but don't you think that's fucking fantastic and like testament to what a great worker MJF is?
Absolutely. I thought it was the best thing I've seen
right?
wrestling in 20 years. That's the best thing I've seen in mainstream wrestling. Best thing in mainstream
ages, man. Yeah.
You know. But, you know.
You got to try and hit that note still, right? You got to still have people at least doubting. Shit, man. At least doubting that what they're seeing isn't necessarily just people goofing off, you know? Like if you can just plant that seed, love it.
But I feel like that's what's kind of missing in wrestling. Like I feel like in a lot of things, it's always like, oh yeah. No, we really hate each other, bro. You know what I mean? Like it's either
I hate it.
Like a commentator who's like, you know what I mean? Oh, well, you know, like I heard a show once where a commentator went, oh my God, that's not supposed to happen. And I just thought, so everything before was like,
yes.
You just exposed the whole fucking match, bro. Like,
when did it die? When did is there? I mean, there's still like I said, there's still times when you can plant a seed of doubt. So I guess that's the extent of kayfabe these days. But like, when was it officially dead?
Bro, I don't know. I remember as a teenager when Austin pulled out McMahon and brought out the gun and like McMahon pissed himself. I was like, 15, 16. And I was like, I popped huge for that shit, bro. I was marking out. I was like, we're going to see this guy ice a motherfucker right on TV. This is nuts. And then when the fucking thing happened, I was like, oh, you mother, you know what I mean? I thought I was going to see a guy get fucking whacked on TV, bro, at 16. At 40 now, I look back at it and go, that was pushing the limit, but like, still.
There was something to it though. Like, even if it was like, preposterous. It was a funny time. Like it was a good time, I think, in wrestling. Like that's when all my favorite guys were like going around in their primes and stuff like that. There was some stuff that I guess it's always the thing with wrestling. There's stuff where you're just like, oh fuck, really? They're going to serve that up? And then there's other times you're like, this is absolute gold. This is a monumentous moment that's going to live forever, you know. And it could all happen on the same night.
Well, that's the thing, bro. I asked the question on social media. I was like, who in mainstream wrestling now on Raw, SmackDown, or AEW is going to be remembered in 20 years? Like Stone Cold, The Rock. Who? Like, who? And all these people going, oh, you're hating on wrestling, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, cool, but give me a name.
Who would you say? I'd say the closest person to that, just for like overall like life's achievements, would be like what, Lesnar, right?
100%. Lesnar,
I think he's
Cena.
Lesnar would be probably the biggest draw in wrestling right now, right?
Yeah, I'd definitely say so.
That's fair to say.
Yeah, I mean, if we're thinking like as a payday or like as a draw, like, yeah, I think Lesnar
Yeah.
is, man. Like Lesnar's one of those people which is larger than fucking life. He looks like, a human fucking Viking, a real life Viking, dude. So, I definitely think he's because he's a credible, like he looks credible, bro. Like he's like 6'3" and like 300 and something pounds of just jacked up muscle. He looks like someone who could be undefeated. That, if they put the belt on him and he had a reign of like 5 years, I don't think anyone would fucking question it, bro.
No one in professional wrestling is going to beat Brock Lesnar in a fight. That's the thing too. He's legit. He's, college All-American and all that. And like, UFC heavyweight champion and stuff like that. That legitimacy is probably one of the few guys. I'm sure there's guys out there that can like legit kick the shit out of people and stuff. I don't know who comes to mind at the moment, but like, that used to be kind of a vibe on everyone that I saw in wrestling. It'd be like, don't mess with that guy, don't mess with that guy. And now it's kind of like a bit watered down, I think. And the believability of those people is kind of like they've given up on it. And I don't know. Not to say that there aren't like, there doesn't have to be a land of giants sort of thing, but like, I think that the emphasis on being like a legit badass is probably taking a back seat to being a really good gymnast a lot of the time, or like they think they've got this great gimmick or something like that. Like, I don't know, like Danhausen and stuff like that. Like, fuck, man, I don't watch that shit. Like,
I'm the same way with Orange Cassidy, bro. Like, if some dude in real life came up to me and threw like those kicks at me, bro, like just stand there, I'd slap the shit out of him.
The pockets guy.
Bro, I would slap the fucking shit out of you. Get the fuck away from me, that shit, bro. Like
what's the appeal there? Am I missing something? Is anyone that's watching can explain that to me? Perhaps I don't know.
Bro, I feel like it's just the way that wrestling has evolved, man. Like wrestling now, you're seeing different body shapes, people from different ways of life. I've always said, look, wrestling, there's a spot in it for anyone from any walk of life. If you're willing to put the work in. Right, you can
within reason.
Yeah, like I think if you're willing to put the work in and you can be dedicated to do it, there's always going to be a place for someone in pro wrestling, right? There can always be a spot that can be put in for someone who's dedicated. You know what I mean? Like you can't just be like a guy that rolls off the couch and goes, "Hey man, yeah, I want to be in the main event of your next show, and I'm going over Tyson Gibbs." It's not going to happen, right?
Few of those around.
I'm sure there are. I'm sure they are. But dude, like, you started, wrestling, what, in Canberra, I believe?
I started in Sydney. I grew up in Dubbo, and IWA came through a few times. And I think the second time they came through, I was just sitting there front row. I'm like, yeah, fuck this. I'm moving to Sydney. I'm going to go do this. And I talked to Rob Matrix, now Robbie Zuko, and Angus McLeod, and I just said, like, I was just some 18-year-old kid. I was like, how do you get into this, man? He's like, oh, there's a training school or something like that. Go to the website. And then from there, I just packed my shit up and moved to Sydney and started training with Mark Mercedes and the gang. And yeah, it was very different then, I think. Like, I felt like it was a bit of a harder business to break into. There was a lot less places to work, a lot less places to train and stuff like that. There was a lot of people that I trained with who just never showed up again. Yeah, there's definitely, like you're saying before, like there's kind of like a thing now where it's like wrestling's for everyone. So like everyone should have a fair go and everyone should be told that they're doing really well. And I just don't think it's conducive to improving the business or making it like something that people want to watch.
Well, I think that like years ago, when in the world of kayfabe, bro, and even outside of the world of kayfabe, the biggest thing when people went in there to train is to like, let's break this motherfucker and see if he's got what it takes. You know what I mean? Like this, and I'm friends with a lot of guys that have been around for a long time. Shout out Angel, who was trained by Johnny Rods, and the shit he told me, bro, about training, he went in there at 17, bro, and for fucking the first week, he got the shit beaten out of him by like all these guys just beat the fuck out of him. That was his role as a punching bag. He quit, saw a couple of guys that were beating the shit out of him on WWF television, went, holy fuck, if these guys can make it, I can do it. Went back there, copped a more of a hiding, then elevated himself to then he was the guy giving the hidings out, and then like obviously learning and progressing. But he said, man, in that business, hey, just because I left and came back, I was at that same totem pole, bro. They were like, okay, he quit before, can we get him to quit again?
It's like anything that's worth doing should be like, it should have moments where you doubt yourself and you go, fuck, can I actually do this? And I have to work harder and I have to overcome like whatever obstacle it is I'm facing. Otherwise, like, I don't know, where's the prestige? Where's the honor in doing it? What's so good about it, you know? I don't necessarily think. What's that?
Then everyone would be doing it, right? Like everyone would be like, oh,
sure,
yeah.
If it was easy, everyone would do it. Yeah. I think that, there's probably a happy medium between like the sort of modern era of like, you know, giving people like a fair go or whatever the ideology is. But also like you have to challenge people. You have to make this difficult to do. You have to like physically strengthen people and physically like toughen them up, because it makes them better. It makes the show better. It makes like the business better. You know?
Yeah, bro. I feel like you have to be sharp. You have to have cardio that can go for days, because if you get tired in that ring, bro, like, yes, wrestling is a work, but you know what I mean? If you're tired and your muscles can't go and you drop someone on their head, you've impacted their life, bro. You know what I mean?
Like exactly what I think, man. Exactly. It's not even just about like people think, oh, you're just going on about this shit because like you think it's about looks and stuff. No, man, and like it's about safety. It's not just for yourself, but for, you know, we're all in this together. And like you say, you don't want to go getting tired and sloppy and, you know, killing someone or, you know, or worse. But yeah, I think it would be good if more guys and girls in wrestling had like a background in some type of like physical activity, like sport. I think combat sport's fantastic for that.
Judo is a perfect one for it, right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I did. I had a MMA bout in April, which was just that's the craziest thing I've ever done in my whole life, man. Like it was so intense. It was just chaos, but awesome. A lot of hard work went into it, and basically, yeah, for a few years, I think 6 years before that, I picked up some jiu-jitsu, I picked up some kickboxing, all this sort of stuff, putting it together and stuff like that. And I was surprised that there was a lot of things, you know, from wrestling that kind of translate well, and then the other way around, like stuff that you pick up from jiu-jitsu or kickboxing, for instance, that is really good, like really helpful for like professional wrestling too. So if anyone out there is listening, highly recommend some type of combat sport to, like, you know, you get your gas tank going, get your strength going, flexibility, all these different things that can only improve you, you know, even just the mindset sort of thing that you learn from it.
Yeah, dude. And I think that's, you know, the importance of it as well. And I think like as well, like how we've seen like, you know, how wrestling has evolved and how, you know, society's really evolved. You know, I feel like the hard-ass coaches are still needed in certain things, because like hard-ass coaches, like there's different people learn from different styles and people resonate through different styles. I had, you know, my old MMA coach and my old boxing coach were complete fucking harder. Get your fucking ass up, go, move. And that's how they'd scream. But that our team would get motivated by that, because we'd be like, fuck you. Boom. You know what I mean? We're pushing and pushing further. But I feel like people who might not have that thicker skin would go, holy fuck, this guy's yelling at me and swearing at me. Like, what the fuck? Like, I just want to have fun and roll. Like, you know what I mean? But when you're taking it to another, I think when you want to take it to that another level, you have to have someone who can just be downright ruthless with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like learning that and like, just it strengthens your mind and your will and everything like that. You got to work at it. Like, you're not going to just like wake up one day and like be mentally tougher or be like physically stronger. Like, you have to chip away at every moment of the day, you know?
100%.
Yeah. And the best learning experiences I've had have all come a lot of the time from something negative happening. Like when I was very young and I was like, kind of like, I just want to do my moves and, you know, have my cool costume and stuff. And like a kid after a show said, hey, are you a wrestler? Because he was looking for autographs. And I said, yeah. He goes, wow, you don't look like a wrestler. And that was like an earth-shattering moment to me, but hugely motivational. Like, my life turned around like that's one moment I can say, yep, that made a difference. Or, if you're training with someone like Rip Rogers, he's not going to be polite. He's not going to be sweet, but you're going to fucking learn a lot. I think negative experiences is some of the best things you can have if you want to have really positive experiences down the line.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that from those negative experiences, those moments where you go, oh, fuck, shit, fuck. I embarrassed myself. I don't want to do that again. And it sticks with you, bro. Like you have that in the back of your mind. And I think that's not just for wrestling or sport, but it's for anything. When you ever have a massive fuck up in your life, most people learn from that shit and go, nah, that's never going to happen again. I'm not going to let that shit go down again. So I'm going to do everything in my fucking power to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of people that aren't prepared for that, but still we've got a lot of people making allowances for that. And I think it kind of hurts things in terms of wrestling specifically at the moment,
No, I agree.
Yeah. I hate it when you start going.
No, please continue. Sorry.
Oh, dude, I was just thinking, like, you hear words like inclusivity and stuff like that thrown around, and it's kind of like, there should be barriers to succeeding. There should be barriers to like ascending up any kind of industry, right? Otherwise, it's going to get soft because it's not going to be built on anything.
Look, man, I'm all for inclusivity and all that sort of stuff. However, I believe that the best person and the best person for the job should be the person who gets the opportunity. And that's in anything. That's in wrestling. Then, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm booking a wrestling show, bro, I'm putting the two best performers I have on my roster in that main event. I'm going to put the two best guys that are going to draw me the most money. That's business.
Well, yeah, like true inclusivity, sure, but it's the buzzword version of it that gets thrown around that is just kind of like, you don't have to try so hard. Just come on in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But dude, how was it training with Mark Mercedes?
It was good. It was like that thing where like you have your little failures along the way. You have your like, you get chipped about a few things. Don't ever fucking do that again, sort of thing. But like, he teaches you like, I don't know. I don't know how a lot of people train, but I get the feeling that a lot of people are just like, you'll learn your moves and maybe you'll learn how to string them together. Maybe you'll learn how to like create some sort of like structure with it. But like, he's teaching you from the ground up, like the smaller do's and don'ts of things, the smaller like details that make something better or make something more, the polish that you need, It's been so long since I actually got to sit in with a training session with him. It'd be really good if he could get back into training. I'm actually trying to organize something at the moment. I don't want to talk too much because it's still sort of, we're working on a few things, but like we're trying to get some training going. I'd love to get Mark Mercedes in to train people. I'd love to get Robbie Zuko in to train people. Anyone out there that, if you're not a wrestler and you want to be, or if you are a wrestler and you want to like polish some stuff, follow, I don't know, just look me up on Facebook, look up Tyson Gibbs on Facebook, follow that page because I'm going to start putting some stuff out there, hopefully soon. But yeah, it'd be good to be able to draw on, like, we've got some really good minds and resources of knowledge and stuff in the business. So it'd be awesome to start pulling those together and like bring back a bit more of, I hate saying old school or traditional, but like, do you know what I mean? Like
you know what, bro? I do get what you mean, and it's like kind of like what you see over in America. You see a lot of like the veterans being around locker rooms, even in the indies and stuff like that. For me, you don't really see that much on the Australian side. Like, I'd like to see some of the old school guys from like the 60s and 70s that are still around, coming to the shows and hanging out and saying, hey, like, let me come here, kid. Let me show you a little thing or a transition or something like that. Because I think it would only be good for the business to really embrace, guys like, Dazzler Dunlop, for example, bring him in, who's someone who had been in the business for years and done so much. Even back in the 80s when, Australian wrestling was, white hot, where you'd be doing, wrestlers are doing 5-6 shows a weekend.
Yeah. Like it's a different time. And there's this whole, that was, I think that the presentation and everything that wrestling was then, maybe it doesn't translate 100% to what we do now. There's definitely updated, more modernized versions of it, but like there's some distinct principles. It's like the laws of gravity that just make sense, and you can even put into your modern versions of whatever it is that you're doing, and it'll make things better. It just will. It'll have a much stronger foundation to build things on, you know?
Oh, absolutely. And, I think that the idea of what you're doing with the training school, getting, if you can get guys down there like Zuko, Mark Mercedes, I think Zuko is probably, one of the best minds in the business. And I think anyone you just need to sit down and talk to the guy and listen to some of the things that he says. Like he just obviously he's been around for 20 plus years. So he just really gets the finer details of it. I love having conversations with him because I learn so much about the business.
Yeah. It's like we were saying before we went on, it was, at EWA, we've had Catherine Nixon sort of coming back and working there. And like, she was in that tag team match in the last show and stuff. And a lot of her sort of philosophies and ideas and structure and stuff were in that match. You can see that sort of signature on it. So, like you say, there's some good minds around we can learn from. It's just like we need people to be open to it too,
100%.
I feel like you say, there's not a lot of older sort of or veteran people around a lot of shows. So that culture of learning from those guys, those traditional methods and those traditional ideas and stuff like that isn't practiced or sort of widely accepted. So, the more that those people are around, the better, I say.
Oh, 100%. And even then, it gives an opportunity to keep these people still involved in the business. Like there's still stuff that they can do. From a backstage perspective, you've got a couple of young talents that are working a match together. They've only had maybe a handful of matches. That sort of person stepping in to help produce and being like, okay, what are you guys thinking? Well, what about if you try, and just throwing ideas at them. I think it can only help elevate younger talent coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It'd just be good to have more people that have like made a living in the business too, like have their knowledge and stuff passed on. I know that we get like, we get internationals coming fairly frequently now to Australia, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely do. We got FWA brings out internationals, BCW, AWE brings out some internationals as well. But
who would you book? Who would you book? What international would you book to draw and also like impart knowledge on a crew to? I can't think at the moment.
I'd bring in someone like Mick Foley. I wouldn't have him wrestle. I would have him do a seminar. I'd have him come out, do a fucking socko spot, fucking send the crowd home happy, have an autograph session, signing without him as well, make more money. Bro, I'm just thinking from how to make money to get back what it's going to cost for an international talent, because that sort of level of fame, you're going to draw that many people who are going to come to that show just to have that opportunity to get a Mick Foley autograph or a picture with him or, something like that.
I feel like I saw something. He's touring or doing some speaking tour or something. Is that in Australia or is that elsewhere?
That's in,
it is?
I think August or October.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, would Mick Foley still be a big draw for a younger generation? I feel like people that are probably 30 and above would probably still, come out to meet someone like that. But I think that when you're booking an international talent, you're really taking a massive gamble of what the return is going to be, bro. Because you spend $3,000 on flights, international talent with a name, you're going to pay him $1,000 for a booking. Some, let's say that's on the lower end. Hotel,
sure,
all that other shit. So this is going to cost you $7-8 grand. You know what I mean? And then you got to pay the rest of your crew. You know what I mean? That's a $10,000 show. Are you going to get that back on the door? Not on an indie show. I don't. Unless you're doing $100 tickets, and even then, are you going to get that crowd at that price?
Yeah. Are you going to go to who goes to? Oh, that's actually a good suggestion. I just saw someone suggested
Cesaro.
Who's going to go to the speaking tour? Like, not to disrespect him in any way, but like, what's he doing? Is it stand-up comedy or what?
It's just him talking. It seemed
He's a
like
draw of some sort, then, right? If they're
oh,
booking that,
bro, absolutely. I think he's a draw.
yeah.
Like I think he was even booked on GCW over in America, and he introduced. I think it was I can't remember the card, but it wasn't too long ago. And they got a good reaction. I don't know how many people, I don't even think they promoted Mick Foley being there, but that was already a sold out crowd. But it depends on the size of the venue. I'd be looking at someone, like I said, that I would get the most return on my buck for.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably just end up booking like a Mark. Get like, I would just want to get FTR in and try and get a match with him, dude.
if we're booking like Marks, bro, then fuck. All right, let's go. Like,
who's your Mark? Who's your Mark draw?
Oh, Y2J, bro, Chris Jericho. I think dude, he's cool. like the Dave Grohl of professional wrestling, right? He's been.
That's
cool
a really good comparison.
Years.
Yeah,
100%. Like Y2J versus. Now you got me. I don't know. I feel like
a local talent, right?
Yeah, I'd probably put him. I'd probably put him up with someone who's up and coming, like a young talent. Because or you know what, I'd put him in a tag team match because then 3 people get the rub instead of 1.
Yep. And tag team is probably a bit more appealing to someone that's probably not in the mood to work their ass off for the night, right?
100%. 100%. Because like as well, you got to think internationals coming over, they're jet lagged. Oh fuck, I don't want to do much on this.
Yeah, just come do a hot tag.
Yeah.
Do you get to see much Australian wrestling? Like, is there like
I see a lot of it. Way? Yeah, bro. I get to a lot of it, man. I work for a lot of companies. So, I'm out there doing commentating. So I'm at a lot of shows. Those I'm not, man. I still like to watch, bro. Like as far as mainstream wrestling, I avoid it, bro. I watch more of independent wrestling because I feel like those are where you get the hidden gems. You know what I mean? Like then you can see some real raw untapped talent that you just, you know what I mean? By the time they would get to a WWE, their gimmick is either watered down or their moveset is just so reduced. So, like I said, as long as there's a card with a good mixture of like, I think professional wrestling has to be like a smorgasbord or a buffet, where it's like you got your high flying, you got your lucha, you got your hardcore, you got your big man strong style, you got your marquee flip spots and shit like that match. And I think that they all are relative to putting on a good show because you're going to get fans of different styles of wrestling and you really need to implement each and everything of that to draw in all of those different crowds.
Yeah, you want to strike that balance of like having something like that, like a good variety and stuff, without it being like too disjointed. Like there's got to be something that kind of ties it all together, like presentation wise, I think.
Yeah. Like, what about you? Do you watch much Australian wrestling?
I watch the shows that I've been on lately. I catch bits and pieces because there's stuff on like YouTube. A lot of people are putting stuff on YouTube and stuff. Like I was watching some UWF from Queensland the other day. You see some cool stuff. I don't think I've ever actually seen a match, but like the guy that is with Crackerjack down in Melbourne, that big massive dude with the mask.
His brother.
Cool. I don't know. Yeah, that's cool as shit.
That's his shoot brother too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I asked him. I was like, I spun out of that. I was like, fuck, really?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think that's like he's got a real like presence and look about him by the look of it, and like Cracker, like if he's anything like him, like there'll be like the chemistry personality thing going on with it too. I should probably watch a little more, huh?
Yeah, man.
I'll get around to like some more shows. I'm trying to get out there and do some more and meet some more people and like see more of what's out there. I have like in the last, couple of months, I think I've worked more different places than I ever did before. It was just bouncing between IWA and not much else, honestly. So yeah, it's been good. I'm meeting a lot of cool people, a lot of like younger people that I've known of but haven't got the chance to work with, and especially EWA, it's been kind of a melting pot of like a good sort of mix of like older and younger people sort of coming together, and it's a really, really good vibe actually.
Bro, I love the vibe at EWA. It's just very cool, very welcoming. Everyone's just, just in there to put on a great show. You know what I mean? And that's something I love. I see that with a lot of promotions. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people are just sort of working together. How do we put the best show on possible? And I think that that's probably a good way to sort of move away from what we've seen in pro wrestling over the years, which has been, people sort of cut the throat cutters and the kneecappers in the world of professional wrestling are sort of slowly dwindled away from it, from what I've seen. Dude, as far as like the wrestling product as a whole, like, do you still watch wrestling on a weekly basis?
I'm not on a weekly basis. Like I said, I'm not signed. I'm definitely not signed up for WWE Network. No disrespect. Like, obviously they're the I guess we could call it the pinnacle of the industry and everything like that. But dude, like, it's physically painful to watch WWE these days. I think, like, everything's like neon, everything's completely covered in LED screens. You got the zooming in and out sort of stuff. Like, that alone drives me off. But then second, like, it just, like you say, they don't have. They're missing something. There's something missing, and I think maybe it comes from they're not taking. Well, they are to a degree, but like I feel like they've got like a WWE way to do a match or present your character or whatever it is. And they slap some stupid gimmicks on people too. I saw some match. There was a chick in a match and her gimmick is that she falls asleep during matches. It was on NXT.
Yeah,
I think.
Wendy Chu.
What the fuck? What is that?
Bro, the funny, she actually does some innovating shit. I've seen her do a spot on the
innovation, sure.
Where she does like an elbow drop, right? But when she does it, she goes like that. So, and you know what I mean? Like, when I first saw the gimmick, I shat on it big time, bro. But after I see it, like, I pop for it. But it's the same with that. It's the same with that Nikki Cross's character, bro. Like, they turn her into a superhero. You had like this girl with this psychotic gimmick, amazing. Then you put her in like this main event scene with Charlotte and Rhea Ripley, where basically both of these two are just shitting on her. So you're burying her live on television. You're getting rid of all her credibility. Oh, and then we're going to make her a superhero. And the funny thing was, they're like, oh, but she came up with it. And you know what? The people at WWE, they love that sort of shit. They go, oh, you want to be a superhero? Oh, fuck, this is great. We don't even have to write your burial. You're doing it for us. Let's go.
Hell, isn't it? Ugh. In that sentence, in that story, though, like, you've got girls like Charlotte and Ripley. I think they're just fucking awesome. Like that, I'll watch those people. I just feel like there's so much chaff to sift through in WWE. Like, if there's something good I hear about, I'll go watch that.
Oh, dude, it's I watch NXT every week because I do a review show on it, and there's certain things that I see there, and like I said, untrained eye, I watch stuff, and I saw a finish, I think, on last week's show where this tag team match, one of the girls tags out, the other girl tags in, hits her finish, which is, I think, a double stomp or something off the top ropes. She stands up, looks at the other girl who's clearly the one they're trying to push to get over. She tags her in. She comes in. She looks around. Oh, okay, lays down, and then there's the cover. I'm like, what the fuck was the point of you doing your finish, tagging out, and her just coming in and doing the pin? I was like, what the fuck?
You're forgetting the first rule of wrestling, and that is you got to get your shit in, Piers. You got to get your shit in.
Oh, exactly, man.
Doesn't matter if it makes sense. Yeah, go on.
Dude, no, please. Like, I think that a lot of times, what you see now in WWE, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I feel like as soon as they find something good, can't have that. Got to make that into something shitty or stupid, or there's a team or whatever getting over. We've got to break them up ASAP. I don't know what's going on there. I guess like they've got a lot of TV writers. They don't necessarily have a lot of wrestling people there now. I don't know. I don't know much about the back office there or anything like that. I only hear like shit that's on the internet.
I spoke with Vince Russo, and he said, you've got a guy like fucking Drew McIntyre. He said to me, bro, I would give my left nut to be Drew McIntyre for 15 minutes. That's all I'd want. And he goes,
a beast, right?
this big jacked up guy. He goes, and then one day he comes out with a big fucking sword and a kilt. And Vince and Russo said to me, he goes, I just went, oh wow, who'd you piss off, bro? Which story did you used to fucking do?
Yeah,
he goes,
fuck.
You know, but
the spot with the cutting the ropes with the rubber sword, awesome. I'm glad they put that on TV. No, they put that on WrestleMania, didn't they? It's more than TV. Yeah,
that's awesome. Like the biggest page. But dude, you know, what was the main reason? Because you took a step away from wrestling around 2016, 2017, I believe. You know,
yes.
What was the reason for stepping away? Was it injury related? Was it like you were just burnt out, had enough? Where was your mindset at for stepping away?
Yeah, man, I think it was a bit of burnout. I think it was kind of like feeling like, just needing a break. And just I had other interests. Like I said, I started doing kickboxing and stuff like that, and that's a pretty time intensive thing. And I was getting like a different buzz from that, so like that became my thing. And then I was sort of here and there, I'd start to see like some wrestling, or I'd catch up with people from wrestling, and we'd end up talking about it. I'm like, oh fuck, like that's what I used to enjoy about it. And I think it's come back to that, you know, like I've come back to this point where like I actually feel like pumped about it, like I'm psyched to like go do my own thing. And I think a lot of what I want to do with coming back too is like, let's have a good hard whack at this, see what I can do with this, but also like, can we like improve things a bit? Can I take the stuff, like the cool things that I've learned over the years? I want to start like passing that on to like people, and I see it as a way, like perhaps it's a pompous way to think of it, but like I think that things can be improved in little ways that will make things like better business wise, better presentation wise, better psychology wise, all these different things. And like, I don't know, maybe we can make a nice little difference, at least in my little circle of what's happening around me, you know?
Oh, 100%. And I think now is probably, you know, I think the best time to really capitalize on that. And, you know, wrestling, I think now in the world is the as big as it's ever been. You know, and I think Australians in particular is now it's obtainable to get to a WWE. It's now as an 18-year-old coming in to a training school and going, you know what, I want to be a WWE superstar. I want to go and wrestle in NXT or New Japan or fucking AEW or MLW, NWA, wherever it is. That shit's now obtainable, bro. 20 years ago, what we had Nathan Jones, mate, like, you know what I mean?
He was there
for a cup of coffee. Before that, Outback Jack. You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't a lot of Australian. Like, coming in at your time, bro. Like, you know, was there thought for you going, "Hey, I'm going to go over. I want to be in WWE," or was it like, "Oh
hell yeah, Australia"? Yeah, absolutely. Like, I actually was fortunate enough to get to do a tryout with WWE when they came down to Melbourne for it's like a 2-day thing. I can't remember when that was. I feel like it was longer ago than I'm willing to admit, if I'm honest. But like I got to go to the States. I got to go to OVW, which was awesome. I'd actually tossing up the idea of going back and learning some more, you know. It was one of those things, like hindsight's always going to be better than when you're in the moment and stuff. I think there's things that maybe you could have done differently and stuff like that. But like even just going there and learning from, like I said, people that do this as their full-time business and stuff like that, and people that have been to like the pinnacle of the industry and stuff, just picking up the bits of knowledge and meeting them and seeing how things work and stuff, like it's been super cool, man. And I don't know. Do you think Tyson Gibbs is legitimately WWE compatible anyway?
I mean, it depends if you can keep your mouth shut. I'm sure there's things that you could probably definitely say, but dude,
not gonna happen.
As far as talent go, though, bro, like, you know, I was talking to some of the guys at the EWA show, man, and you know, as far as respect goes, man, you were held in a lot of high regard, man. Like Chris Abbott was saying, when I first got there, your promo came up on the screen as a testing, and he's just going, man, this guy has just fucking gets wrestling completely. Like, he is so damn fucking good. And then,
nice.
Other people are saying the same thing, man. So, having those opportunities to go and get a WWE tryout, I think that is a huge accomplishment in itself, especially from the time that when you sort of broke in and sort of got into the business and evolved, where it was like the eyes on the Australian product was almost zero. To get a WWE tryout, I think, is a huge accomplishment. Who ran through that tryout with you, and what was the feedback at the end of it? Do you remember?
Well, feedback was super limited, eh? Like, I tried, I sort of, there was Bill DeMott was the guy that basically ran it. And he was there with a guy named Canyon, who was, I forget what his specific role was, but like they were the guys running it essentially. It was pretty full days, like, and there was a fair few of us. I think people who got signed to eventually at least got signed to WWE, like Tony Storm was there. I think they signed one person from there, but like it was hard to get, I think, time at the time. Like I feel like a lot of my strength comes from promo and stuff like that. I didn't necessarily get the chance to demonstrate that, which would have been nice. But that being said, like you're in this arena in WWE ring and doing your drills, and eventually you get to do like a little match at the end of the 2 days and stuff like that. And it was super cool, man. But I think that coming from doing that and everything, I'd like to, in terms of us, it's good. Don't get me wrong, it's very good that we have so many Australians that are signed now. It's really, really good. It would be even better, I think, just even for the people that are here and for the business itself, if we can bring things up, like, and start doing things a bit more like what they do in successful pockets of the world, and make Australian wrestling, put it on the map, rather than just putting a few of our people on the map and going, they'll go, yeah, I'll take that one, and then everyone goes. I think it'd be sick if we had like something big going on here too, Go like.
Do you think we have the audience in Australia to have like a Monday night wrestling show on Channel 9 at 7 p.m. PK, like at primetime television?
Sure. I think like when you see the stuff that's on TV, like, I mean, WWE, I think WWE recently set up, like, there's an Australian office here. Like, I guess it's just for merchandising, marketing and stuff like that. But like they're here. People obviously watch their product on television. People are watching AEW on television. People are watching, I think, like, done well, you could have like a similar demographic to like what's on TV these days? You got like Ninja Warrior, like those sort of things. They've tried a bunch of different stuff. They've retried Gladiators a few times and stuff, but like if it's done well with the right production value and the right crew and sort of direction and stuff like that, sure, man, absolutely. But it has to be done well. Like you can't just toss any old thing up. You can't just toss wrestling up because it's wrestling. It has to be packaged in a way. Like I said, you've got to appeal to those people who aren't wrestling fans. You've got to appeal to those people who just want to watch something interesting, something that's a spectacle, something with a storyline, something engaging,
Yeah, and I think that comes to a lot of it with like production levels as well. Bad production can ruin good wrestling. You know what I mean? Like I watch shows. Yeah, I'm a huge CZW fan from the States, so I watched some of their early stuff from '99, which is filmed on a camcorder. While some of the matches are pretty amazing, it's unwatchable. It's just like fuck. Like, how do you follow this, bro? Like, it's a shaky. Like, I don't want to watch that shit. You know what I mean? And I'm a fan of it. So to me, I'm like, I can't sit there and watch that shit. So someone who you're trying to captivate into becoming a fan, I think the production has to be on another level.
Yeah, if it's not easy on the eyes, forget about it, eh? But it's good 100%. Too, like more and more indie, just the guys, different places I'm going around in Sydney and stuff, more and more indie places, they're getting better quality camera gear. They're getting like people in who have like a knowledge of video editing and stuff like that. It's awesome. Like like I said, you've got good elements here. It can be built. It's not where it needs to be by any stretch, but like what we need is there and it's on its way, you know.
Piers Austin versus Tyson Gibbs in a commentary match.
In a commentary match.
I don't even know what a commentary match is, but if I get into
That's your specialty match, bro.
It is, bro. But I think if I get into a war of words with you, man, I'm gonna fucking come up short. But dude, like you mentioned training at OVW, you know, and did you train with Rip Rogers over there? Who were you training with over in OVW?
Yeah, well, the way it was working was like you'd started off in like your sort of introduction or beginners level sort of class with Nick Dinsmore, who worked in WWE as Eugene. Yeah. He's super sound. He's one of Rip's students too, so he knows his shit back to front. Really cool guy, really good, I think, introduction to like that sort of Southern American style wrestling as well. Yeah, he was cool. And then, you know, on weekends, Rip would have his classes and it was basically you get invited to come and do those if you wanted. And then at the time I was there, OVW was affiliated with TNA. So Al Snow was in there. Yeah. Was it that long ago? Holy shit.
I think, 2000, maybe.
I feel like it was 2013.
2011, 2012, maybe.
Yeah, about that time. So it was cool. I actually, Al Snow was there, and a lot of the time he'd be training the guys that were, you know, your regular TV guys and girls, getting them sort of like accustomed to the idea of working on TV with your pacing of your matches, the angles that you're working, like facing and stuff like that. So yeah, it was cool to like see all of that, and then you get to do like they would have shows like several times a week, and you get to do like house shows. I got to do a couple of TV spots with them. But that was really cool, man. Like go down to Davis Arena pretty much every day and do wrestling. Like it was awesome. Like I said, it really, really, yeah. I'm thinking about it, and like the more I think about it, I think, I'll probably pop in there again at some point, you know.
We there with you know, guys like Ben Hameen, Ted McNeela.
Yes.
Yeah. No, they're friends of mine. So it's Ben is quite the character, man. So you know, some of the stories I've heard from him, especially about Rip Rogers down there as well. So it's you know, it's definitely one of those places where I think is just bred champions, and you know, for a place to go and even spend a week to 2 weeks to a month down there just learning from guys like Rip Rogers and Al Snow, who is like, to me, probably one of the most intelligent guys in the wrestling business next to Stevie Richards, who just gets it, bro, you know?
Yeah. Well, my goal here in Australia right now is to get into training and like employing a lot of, you know, stuff that I learned from them and like different ways of drilling things to like teach the why, not just the what of wrestling, you know, like why you're doing something, why it matters that you don't do it this way, why it matters that you do it that way. You know, is
that the psychology in wrestling?
I suppose, but it's also like, yeah. Like your psychology, but like your intention, like that whole idea of like shoot first and then work sort of thing. Like it's got I think that's something that's missing from a lot of stuff that I see that I'm not jazzed on is it doesn't look like a contest. It doesn't look like a struggle. Like there's a lot of cooperation stuff. Like, I don't know about you, but like, when you see like something that's quite obviously two guys working together to make a move or a spot happen, I'm like, I can't really get into that. I'd rather watch something a little bit rougher.
I'm like that with selling. And when I watch a match and I see where it's like, wow, they're just not selling moves, they're just doing spots. And you know, you literally see, you can tell when those matches are on, because it's like, okay, this guy, say a triple threat match, this guy comes in, he gets his shit in of 3 spots. Okay, he takes a powder to the outside. This other guy dives in. He does his 3 moves. He powders out. Then this guy's left standing. He does a double somersault backflip to the outside, takes out everyone. He fucking does, you know, panders to the crowd, self-serving shit. He gets back in the ring. You know what I mean? And then, you know, I find like it's non-stop. Or it's even at points where like big guys are doing too much or giving too much in matches to littler opponents, where it's like, bro, this guy who's 6'6" is coming off his feet 5 times by being kicked by a fucking guy who's my height.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro. Yeah, I don't. I'm a thick guy for 5'6", bro, but I ain't taking down a guy 6'6". It's just not going to happen.
Or at least you're going to have to work at it. It's not just going to happen straight off the bat. And yeah, yeah. That's the thing. Like, I think that's been the worst result of the way that the business has been opened up and just like, here's how it works. Like they pulled back the curtain on these magic tricks, and now everyone goes, it's not really magic, so we don't have to pretend that it's magic. You know what I mean? Like if magician goes out on stage and starts like going, I didn't actually saw this lady in half, guys. Like, here's how we did it. Like, it's fucking stupid. If he treats it all hammy, how much better is it like selling it like he's really cutting through this woman and she, like, you know what I mean? Like,
but that's the thing. I feel now like, and I've said this before, is like wrestling now is so restricted because everyone is so careful. I feel like good heels can't be good heels because it's like, you can't insult the audience because you may trigger someone. And I get it. Like I get it, bro. And I get you don't want to trigger a member of the audience or give someone a bad time or have them leaving feeling inadequate. But if you've got a good heel who can go out there, insult the crowd, but then after the show, go up to him and go, hey, man, you know what I mean? Like, again, like this is probably breaking kayfabe and pulling that thing, but at least the heel to go up to the person in the show, hey, man, thanks for being part of the show. That was a lot of fun. Thank you for your involvement. That person then, you know what I mean? Like, as that fan knows, it's a work, but you know what I mean? Like that handshake could then go, oh, wait, you know what? That guy isn't really a fucking asshole. He was just playing a character. Whereas I think in a movie, you could have someone play a Nazi, right? But in professional wrestling, if someone came out with the Hitler mustache doing the fucking thing, doing like, bro, that would be
those days are over.
Exactly.
Those days are over.
Because people can't break away from the fact of wrestling being live entertainment. And I think it's because for the longest time in wrestling, what's been the whole thing? We're going to pull the wool over your fucking eyes. You're going to make believe this is real. So maybe for the fans, even though they know it's a work, but no, these characters, they're fucking real. That what you do in the ring, that's all predetermined, but you're really a fucking hater, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel like that used to be the point. That used to be the point. Like being a heel would be you piss people off and no one liked you. You know? And it's almost like, even I feel this way about myself. Like, yeah, you want to get some heat and you want to, you know, if you can piss people off to the point where like they want to see you get your ass kicked, fantastic. That's kind of like what we're going for. By the same token, like you do, it's always like you feel like you got to apologize to people for it, you know?
Yeah, like, dude, I felt like even Vinny Vane, like he's a mate of mine, and I thought he did a good job in getting heat from the crowd. The way he cut his
promo, yeah.
And the way he cut it, bro, he knew his audience. He's like, I see these middle-aged women in the front row with so much Botox, you can't even show any expression. And like, even like, but my best mate who's in the crowd, he's like, bro, I was looking around. He goes, I saw all these women with these big Botox lips and shit. He goes, I'm popping for this because he's just hit the nail on the head. I go, yeah, truth hurts.
Truth hurts. The thing. Like, there's got to be that's what I think good heat is like. There has to have that element of truth and like holding up something that people don't want to either admit or acknowledge or whatever. And it's, what do we do about it, Piers? How do we get heat and like proper heat without getting, I don't know, cancelled from the internet?
You can do it. I mean, like, there's certain ways that you can direct it, I think, you know what I mean? Like, I think the best way to describe being, you know, the difference between a baby face and a heel is quite simply a heel. The hate that you direct to the audience, you now direct that to your opponent, and that sort of anger gets directed there. Okay, that's more of a baby face thing. When you direct it to your audience, there's ways of getting heat where it's like they start chanting, you suck, you suck. Yeah, okay, I really give a fuck about your opinion. You know what I mean? You can roll it off like that, and that's going to get it even more. Hey, if you don't stop chanting, you suck, I'm going to fucking leave. What does that do? Gets the crowd chanting more. So I think there's definitely ways to do it, but, you know, not every heel on every show can do the exact same shit. Otherwise, you just
They do, though. They fucking do. You get a heel that'll come out, right? I don't know why. It's a mystery. It's the mystery of wrestling. Why the heel comes out and he's super angry at everyone in the front row. Like he has to like flip them off and tell them to get fucked and stuff. Like it doesn't. I think it's so cheap. Like find another way, guys. Like let's move away from that. And the other converse angle of that is the baby faces that have to go and individually greet everyone in the front row. Let's move away from it. Let's find another way. You know,
I think
too picky here.
No, bro. I think the best heels are the ones who actually just don't acknowledge the crowd. The ones that go in there and when they're cutting promos and you see them in WWE or wherever they go, the crowd's go, what, or yelling stupid shit. And the good heels just fucking no-sell that shit. And they just keep talking. I think someone like The Miz, for example, does it so fucking well. You know what I mean? Because he does play into it a little bit. But at the end of the day, he's not talking for the crowd. He'll just keep fucking doing his shit. You know what I mean? Like he'll take his moments where he'll stop and pause so the crowd can get their shit in. But he's the one controlling that segment. He's not letting the crowd control or dictate to him what the fuck he's going to do or say.
Yeah, they're included and they're part of the energy of the situation, but it's not a direct dialogue. It's not a fucking conversation, you know?
No.
But,
and like that's where I think a lot of like heels probably make that mistake where it's like, you don't yell that out. Oh, and I was like, okay, bro, like you want to get your promo done or you want to fucking sit here and have a conversation with the audience? It's really up to you.
Let's not forget why we're here. Yeah. And another thing too, I think the art of wrestling managers, I don't know. I barely even see managers on shows these days, at least like actual managers, not just someone accompanying a wrestler that maybe they'll do like a little thing, but like there was a bit there where you'd have your managers and they would just end up trying to get their own heat with the crowd and stuff like that and like not putting over their guy or girl or whatever. But like, I think maybe we should start trying to book more managers in wrestling, right? Like
I definitely think it can be done, and managers were always used for guys that couldn't talk, right? So guys that didn't want to do promos, and I'm sure there's a lot of boys and girls in the business who talking isn't their strong point. So put someone in there that can talk on a mic and get your shit across, but not necessarily steal your shit from the outside of the ring. Guys like Paul Heyman, who he's been in the business since he was 14, completely gets it. Every person he works with, he delivers gold. And you know what? Not necessarily is he with people that can't talk on the mic. Roman Reigns can talk on the mic. CM Punk can talk on the mic, but he elevates them. He gives them a dance partner to talk when they're doing promos or back and forth, and builds that character even more.
Yeah, I hear like even behind the scenes, like not necessarily in on the stage or whatever, like behind the scenes, he's really good at like coaching them into, do it this way, do it that way, thinking like this about different stuff. Like I would, that'd be a good person to book for a seminar one time.
Heyman, oh, absolutely. He's one guy I would just love to sit there and just hack his brain about booking and psychology about the wrestling business, because I'm a fucking wrestling fanboy, bro, and a nerd really when it comes to it. To me, the backstage elements and the production and how cards get put together and how the storytelling gets put together, that's the sort of shit that really excites me. And I feel like someone like a Paul Heyman doing a talk or a seminar on that sort of shit would be so beneficial for a lot of people, not just wrestlers, but commentators, managers, backstage, people learning from that, and even people up and coming to get that knowledge would be fucking priceless.
Yeah, I'd like to learn a bit more about like the bigger picture stuff, like the way matches and storylines come together and how to do things a bit more long-term or I feel like I feel pretty good about like the individual match itself, like putting together like the persona and stuff like that. I feel good about that, but like it'd be cool to like learn a bit more about the big picture stuff,
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, no, I completely.
Excuse me.
I thought that was your chest hair coming up, mate. The manliness just coming out of Tyson Gibbs.
No, it's definitely not me.
But guys, it is that time for 60 Seconds with Piers. We've told Tyson how this works. If you're new to the show, what 60 Seconds with Piers is, it's a little fun game that we like to wrap the show up with. How it works is I'm going to fire a bunch of questions at Mr. Gibbs. He's got 60 seconds to answer as many as he can. Tyson, you give me the heads up when you're ready and we'll get the ball rolling, bro.
Yeah, sure. I have no idea what to expect, but I think I'm ready.
All right. What sport did you play as a kid?
Oh, rugby and cricket.
Master Chef or My Kitchen Rules?
Oh, neither of those. No, I don't watch that shit.
All right. Plain fairy bread or fairy bread with Nutella?
Fairy bread with Nutella is overdoing it. That's too much. Just
Too
the
much
plain one, thank you. Yeah.
Which
What do you got?
celebrity would play you in a movie about your life?
Oh. An undiscovered actor. I don't know. Someone independent, sure. I don't know.
What is the worst gift you have ever given someone?
I'm really good at gift giving. I don't know. My answer to this question, that's a terrible gift. I'm sorry about that, Piers.
Oh, good. Would you rather win $10 million or live for twice as long?
I think I could probably do a lot more with $10 million than twice as many years. Does that mean I get like super old as well? Be like,
Yeah, let's say you get to about 95. In other words, twice as long, you get to live to 185.
no, I'll take the money. I'm shallow like that.
Oh, good. You have the ability to change the ending of any movie in history. Which movie would it be, and what is the new ending?
Oh shit! I feel, you have that feeling. I feel like I have a good answer for that, but I would have made one of the earlier Jurassic Park movies so that they could make no fucking sequels because I love that movie and all the sequels are terrible.
All right, you have 24 hours to spend $2 million. How are you spending it?
$2 million in how long? 2 days?
24 hours.
24 hours? Just buy my family a bunch of cars. No, I donate heaps to charity as well. Nominated charity of, yeah.
And last one, in 5 minutes' time, you are being shipped out of space. What 2 personal belongings do you take with you, excluding human beings?
In outer space, I would go nuts if I couldn't exercise some type of exercise equipment, but it'd have to work in zero gravity, wouldn't it? Like resistance bands or something like that, for sure. That would, yeah. And I don't know, something like a telescope so I could see further.
That has been 60 seconds with Piers. Tyson's fired out the answers. But Tyson, look, man, where can everyone find you on social media, bro? Where can people get their hands on some Tyson Gibbs merch and support you there as well?
Tyson Gibbs merch is in the works at the moment. I've got an artist working on something that's actually going to be really good. I would highly suggest, if you want to keep up to date with bookings and like what we're going to be doing with training and stuff like that, I would check out Tyson Gibbs on Facebook. Also, like, that's where all my upcoming dates and stuff like that will be, and the update on when the merch is arriving as well. That will be all through the Facebook. I think Facebook's a little old school. I need to update to like some new social media platforms. If you've got any suggestions,
Twitter,
pass
bro.
that on to my Facebook. Twitter?
Twitter's the way to go, bro. Elon Musk all day. Come on, man. You can say whatever you want.
Yeah, he bought it, right? Have they finalized the purchase, or is it just news?
I think they've finalized the purchase. I haven't been following that clearly, but I definitely think Twitter's a good way to go.
Okay, I will keep that in mind. Look out for Tyson Gibbs on Twitter. That will be coming soon.
There you go, guys. But Tyson, thank you for being a guest. I say this quite often. Whenever we can sit there and see an hour and 18 minutes has gone past, it's been a great conversation. Thank you. Definitely have to get you on for a part 2 because I feel like we just scratched the surface in this hour and 20. But guys, please make sure you subscribe, like, share, comment, all that good shit to us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on Twitch. If you're listening on a podcast platform, please give us a 5-star review. It helps get our podcast out to more people so we can do more shit and bring some more entertaining content for you. Guys, also make sure you keep an eye out on my social media, Piers Austin, at Piers Austin on Twitter and at the Piers Austin on Instagram. I've got a huge guest coming up this Friday night, Mr. Bill DeMont, aka Hugh G. Rection, aka Hugh Morris. So make sure you tune in for that one Friday at 11 p.m. I'm going to be sitting down with Bill DeMont, so I'm looking forward to that. Next week, I've got Adam Hoffman coming on. I've got the Deadly Sins coming on. We've got some amazing content coming up to you guys, so make sure that you're following us on all social media. Follow us on MWA World for MWA Podcast Network. But until then, guys, huge thanks to Tyson Gibbs. We'll see you again very, very, very soon. Take care. All the best. Peace.